Alright guys, welcome to another video. This is Yash again, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use the Manhattan 5-pound book to get the most out of this book. I mean, this book is like a Bible to me because it's helped me so much. I could say that it's increased my score like significantly. It's a very important book for me. I think in all my GRE preparation, this is the book I would like to attribute the whole of my increase in marks to. Okay, so when I really started out, I was a lot closer to 300 than to 3 even 310. So it basically took me from 300 to 329. That's a huge gap, right? So okay, how you should use this. Okay, so there's just two different strategies, one for verbal and one for quantitative. You don't use the same one in both these sections because they are both very different sections to tackle, and especially with I think most of the people who are watching this video are from engineering colleges or who are really good at math. So even if you're not, it's fine, you know, but try to focus on whichever topic you're weak on, mostly on that one. All right, so basically, let's go into the index of this book first of all. Okay, this is the index. So if you're just starting out with this book, I highly recommend just, even though you get like a really bad score, I'm sorry, just do these, what do you call them? Text, verbal diagnostic test and the math diagnostic test. Like do these anyway. You might even get, I don't know, 290 for all I know, but it's fine. Just get to know how the GRE works. Just get to know the level. This diagnostic test is kind of like a little bit higher level, but still it'll help you to understand where you stand right now and what you need to do in order to get better, right? Okay. The next thing you want to do is actually look at the text completion, sentence equivalence, reading comprehension, and logic base. These are the parts that majorly make up your verbal level, verbal section of the test. All right. So how do you tackle these? The book has around I think 180 text completions. Again, similarly 180 sentence equivalences, and something along the lines of that. 150 reading comprehensions and probably 50 logic-based reading comprehensions. This topic of logic-based reading comprehension was actually kind of like unknown to me, so I started preparing for it in the like last 20 days of my GRE, and I was like so bad at it. I was getting I think over 70% of the questions wrong on this topic. But again, using the technique I'm going to tell you about right now, I brought that down to like 10 or 20% wrong. So that really helped me out, and I believe it will help you out too. So this applies to all of the questions, whichever part of verbal it is, be it reading comprehension, text completion, sentence, whatever it is. All right. So what you want to do is actually when you're doing this practice, don't really at least at all times don't really have the clock running. Don't do that. That I'll do 20 questions within 30 minutes. That's fine. I mean, it's okay. That's on the actual test. Don't do it when you're trying to improve because you won't be able to improve then. All right. Think these through. Take maybe a little longer, but still just focus on practicing right now and improving yourself instead of just making thinking that you're some kind of a seasoned practitioner who's just taking this test and you'll improvise in one go. That doesn't happen. It takes time. It takes perseverance, right? So just do like 5 or 10 questions in one go, I would suggest, especially if it's like reading comprehension or logic based reading comprehension. Don't rush into it because you'll exhaust the questions and you won't improve. And if you've exhausted the book and you're not able to improve, I don't think there's a lot of other good sources out there. So just make sure you use this book carefully. Again, for the text completion, sentence equivalences, fine, do 10 or 20, but no more than that. All right. Why I'm telling you to like do less and basically take more time is because once you get used to these reasons, you need to get the reason why you're basically rejecting an answer choice. You don't always have to select the answer choice because you might not even know which answer choice to select, right? So what do? You kind of reject 4 choices and you just pick the fifth one, the last one. Fine, that's the best one remaining, right? Okay, so to do that, or maybe you just don't know like the reasons on the basis of which you should reject something. There are very uh, there's basically a process by which these people who are creating the GRE are going to create the options. And if you know this process, if you know how they are going to articulate these options, you can basically say that, okay, yeah, this is basically, you know, one of those question type, one of those faulty answer types which I do not want to get into the trap of. So you need to make sure that you know all of the traps, basically what the basis of all of the traps is. For example, just to throw it out there, one of the traps could be that the thing is never really mentioned in the passage, but then you know it from your general outside world knowledge. Fine, you know it. That's great. It might be true in the real world, but it's not mentioned in the passage, so you cannot select that option. That's not correct. All right, or you know, different societies like society A has something happen to it, and society B is like nearby society A. Still, will the consequences be the same for society B? No, you cannot say that because society B might have totally different kind of people. So all these kinds of things you need to really know how people are going to trick you into it. One of the more famous ones is like a whole passage talks about seals and then they would just throw a fish in there. So, just be wary of selecting that option because, you gotta know that these things are basically never really mentioned in the passage. Fishes are never really the main focus of it. So how can you select that, right? So, I mean, these are from my experience. I'm sure if you practice a lot of questions, you will know these things. So you need to be aware of these traps. So do these questions, and the most important part is review them. Even if you got like 8 out of 10 correct, I wouldn't say it's easy to get 8 out of 10 correct in the first go. You would get like 2 out of 10 correct, by the way. But even if you get 8 out of 10 correct, review the answers that Manhattan provides you. Like, even if you're correct, especially if you're wrong, you should review them. But if you're correct, you should be still checking their logic so that you can make sure that your logic is in coherence with their logic, because that's the main key point that you're trying to understand. You want to get the traps, right? Like, what is the trap that they're going to throw at me, and how am I going to evade it? How am I going to obviate it? Whatever, just not fall into it, right? So if you know the tricks that Manhattan teaches you, basically, if you know the reasons why they are rejecting each and every option, it's a very detailed explanation that they provide. So please go and check that out. For the text completions and sentence equivalences, the details are not, the answers are not so much detailed because they expect you to know some of the harder vocabulary words. For that, I would recommend doing a good word list, especially, if you could create your own word list, that's the best option out there, like in my previous videos I've told you. Again, you can find the link to my own dictionary, the one I created I would probably put it in this video's description too, just for the people who haven't, listened to the previous one. But try to make your own dictionary. That would be the best for you. Okay, so that's about your verbal part. Let me see if I've not, missed out on anything. I just wrote these points down so that I'm making sure that, I don't miss anything that I need to tell you. Okay, so this is basically all for the verbal part. Just don't try to bite off more than you can handle. Try to do 5, 10 questions in one go, and just focus more on reviewing them. Okay. Now coming to the quantitative part, there's actually a lot of questions here in the quantitative part. Okay, a lot of chapters actually, but that's good. Really, like the more fragmented it is, the better it will help you. Okay, so this is not, by the way, my copy of the book. I had a hard copy. I don't know who has like done this. Like I don't even know like this yellow colored thing. So maybe highlighted it or whatever. But what you really want to do is use whichever soft copy, hard copy, whatever you can understand. So, okay, how you're gonna tackle the quantitative section? Well, first of all, if you do not have the basics clear, suppose you're in front of the arithmetic chapter, you're gonna do the arithmetic chapter. You don't know the concepts of arithmetic. I'm sure you do. Let's take a harder chapter. Maybe you don't know how ratios work, or maybe you don't know how coordinate geometry works. So what you would want to do is actually go out and learn about it. Now, personally, I used to use the Magoosh videos. I'm sure you know where to find them. You can find them on various Google Drive links. If you don't, you should probably join some of the groups. I'll make another video on this thing, how you can find this stuff. But okay, you wanna prepare from whichever source that suits you. Okay, so just prepare from the internet, or maybe from the books that you used to use when you were in grade 10 or so. Whichever way suits you, just prepare from there, right? So for example, coordinate geometry, you can just study it from YouTube even. All right, once you have done that, once you have the basic background of the chapter, then go on and attempt those questions. I repeat, do not get into this and just finish all of these questions, because then you won't have any room for improvement. Even if you find out your mistakes, and you just go through those chapters, you know your weakness, but you're still going through it. But where do you test it? You need questions to test it. So don't finish these questions just without preparing. Prepare first, then do these. Okay? So try to do one chapter a day if you can. I mean, there's a lot more quantitative chapters than there are based on verbal. I mean, verbal are only four, but still, I personally couldn't finish the verbal chapters, by the way, because I kind of underestimated them. Maybe I thought that I would be able to do them, very, very quickly in the end, but that didn't happen for me. So try to really, make up a schedule and follow it very, very diligently. Do one chapter a day. Focus on your mistakes. One more very important thing that I want to tell you about is, just as noting vocabulary words and writing your own dictionary is important, the same thing applies here. When I used to prepare, I used to actually, focus on my mistakes after doing that, review, and then I used to make sure that, okay, yeah, this is something that I don't know. This is something that is kind of like new to me. Like, I'm not aware of this concept, but I want to be, right? So I would write down the concept in my, whatever. I just used to maintain this notebook where I would write the concepts that I'm not familiar with, or basics, where I can just go and quickly revise my stuff wherever I'm weak. So just write it down over there, and then if the question is really, really important, only if it is really, really important, because this is okay. I'm gonna just tell you, fine. Just note down the question with the black pen, answer it with a blue pen, in your own words, explain it to yourself. That will really help you, because, and don't just keep writing down questions, because it will become a huge copy and you won't even notice, right? So only write the questions which you think are really important and which you would like to practice again in the future. Once you're nearing the end of your preparation, just try to solve these again. you know Sometimes you'll find even better methodologies that you know now, that you didn't know when you were starting to prepare. But sometimes you would want to, just make sure that those concepts that you did not know, you do know of them now. So that's how you do that. Like, write those questions down, forget about them for now. Don't look at them again and again, because then you'll just get used to the question. Don't do that. Um, just test yourself after a month or so, because maybe then you have forgotten the concept. All right, or maybe you know the concept, you just want to check if you do, right? So that's very important. And yeah, I think that is all for okay, something's wrong with my uh electricity here at the hostel, but okay, that's really all that you need to do for the verbal and the quantitative part. um I would put links in the description for my dictionary, and if there's any questions, you could just, ask in the comment section. So again, if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more content. Thanks.